What's up, guys, and welcome to this morning's stream. We actually have a crazy morning going on. We have GameStop actually flying up in pre-market off that 200 support, actually really holding up very well, bouncing to the upside. Looks like a very nice trade. And then we actually have Bitcoin crashing down, which is not a good sign. What's up, guys, and welcome to this morning's stream. We actually have a crazy 30K, which is a terrible sign, and down below $29,000. And guys, it's looking like we could see a continued sell-off here.
For sure. So this is just some crazy movement this morning. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. Welcome Sean, David, Click. I'm Fierce, Vicky, Russ, Justin, Roberto, Sean. Thank you guys so much for joining. Tom, what are some major support levels you're seeing for Bitcoin? And I think that it's at a pretty awesome level right now. And I think that the best way to go with cryptos, because they're so volatile, is just to average in. I'm a fan of Bitcoin and Ethereum for the long term, and nobody can call the bottom. So I'll just be slowly buying a little bit of Bitcoin and Ethereum over time. But do you see any major levels you're watching for? I know that technically we just broke below 30K.
Yeah, we broke below it, but you know what? We actually didn't move too far below, so we could still kind of come back here. We'll just have to see how it ends up playing out, but it kind of looks like we have a little bounce back to the upside, and we kind of retested that $30,000 level once again this morning, and now we're posting some more red. So if we start to see a continued, red candle to the downside, then I would say that I'm looking at it to kind of move down off of that 30,000 support. Now, let me go out on a daily pretty far out here and try to find the next support here below 30,000. It looks like there's a pretty decent one not down here around 28,700, where it did actually have some lows in the past. So I think that could be a decent support over the next couple days, because we've honestly still failed to break that. But if we break below that, we might fall all the way back down to 20,000. Who knows?
How's Doge doing? I know it had a ton of hype a couple months ago, and it seems like everyone forgot about it. It looks like it's tanking quite a bit. It is down significantly from its all-time high. Right now, it's sitting right around $17.50, you can say, but it definitely doesn't look the best.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, man, it definitely seems like a strange chart here for Doge. And like you pointed out, it kind of crashed down a lot more than Bitcoin has over the past couple days, hitting highs of 70 cents. And man, it's all the way down to 17 cents. So I don't know what to think about this. I know lots of people have been kind of banking on Doge to kind of, keep flying up. And, people said it would hit somewhere around $1 or possibly $5. But it seems like in the short term, that's definitely not going to be doable. But man, just going back to Bitcoin, man, it's a terrible thing to see it falling below that support. But there is good luck here that there's a lot more supports here, kind of in the close horizon. Like I said, around 28,700, and then right around 27,700 as well.
Sounds good. Well, let's get right into these questions, Tom. With the first question, we have Sean asking about NVIDIA. How's that one doing? I know it had an amazing month or so, hitting highs of $775. Remember that there is a split going on with this one. They are just a powerhouse stock, powerhouse company. But I think that they're a little bit overextended to the upside on their daily chart. I really wouldn't be surprised if we just consolidate or even fall a little bit over the next couple days or so.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised either. Nvidia's up so much, man. I mean, we've been seeing so much good movement, but it does look like it kind of picked up this morning. But honestly, I'm with you. It kind of seems like it's going to keep falling. And if it does, if it does keep rising, then I'm just going to keep playing the breakouts on it. But I honestly am going to start looking at it to the downside as well, especially with there still being so much time into that split. We still have a month to go, and there could still be some good movement to the upside.
For sure. So let's check out, I'm just looking at some of these other chip stocks. I know NVIDIA is just up so much over the past month. AMD is, hold on, Thinkorswim's loading. So AMD, it had a solid day, 3 or 4 days ago with that Google news. It's kind of just lingering around right now. MU, it's not looking the best. And then even Intel, it's looking okay. So NVIDIA is definitely the leader, or just really just a powerhouse stock. TSM is pretty good too, but especially in the short term, NVIDIA has definitely been the leader.
Yeah, NVIDIA has really been killing it. I would say AMD is a close second to Nvidia, and AMD actually looks pretty good here off support today, kind of bouncing off that 8230 support that it's bounced off of a bunch of times, including yesterday twice, and it's also right on some SMAs that look pretty decent. So I could see AMD kind of following Nvidia up if they do continue, but man, it's not looking good for Intel. It seems like every day we have a green day on AMD and Nvidia, Intel is down, and that's probably because they're competitors, but I think in the longer term, they'll all end up doing pretty decent. It's just, I think that AMD and Nvidia will have the most growth, and AMD on the daily honestly looks pretty good, especially if this green candle can kind of continue up today. I would think that that would make a pretty good bullish setup here on the daily.
Sounds good. And then we have Sean saying, sold my NVIDIA swing from yesterday for $550 at open, bought it at 245. So that's awesome. Then we have Vicky asking about Fubo. I know Fubo is actually looking pretty good on their chart, and they're continuing up pretty well. I think it looks like a pretty solid setup in general. There will be a little bit of resistance at 35, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, Fubo looks really good. I mean, man, it's actually starting to just stair step to the upside very nicely. I know that Vicky's been talking about Fubo a lot actually for like the past few months, and man, it's had a very nice recovery up from those lows around $16. It's all the way up 100% now, up above $32. So very good moves actually out of this, and I'm not surprised. Ever since that May 11th date where Palantir turned it around, I mean, man, the whole growth sector just kind of rocketed up there, and Fubo is getting pretty close to resistance, though. I'll say on the daily I see a resistance here right around like $34 to $35, and we're getting a little close to that, but there's still a little bit of movement that I think could still happen, but the growth honestly looks very nice out of Fubo.
Check out my stock today. It's doing pretty well. Zoom is popping up. It looks like from open, it's already up. You could say like $5 or so, which is great to see. It kind of didn't do anything yesterday, but overall, I still love this setup. And they had a couple problems breaking above 380. They couldn't break above that resistance, but I wouldn't be surprised if we at least retest it sometime soon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would think that Zoom could retest that as well. And it honestly looks like a great setup, Mike. And, a lot of these growth stocks are starting to still pop up. And I think Zoom's just thrown into that category. And Zoom is kind of like one of the leaders out of those growth stocks. And man, they're like really looking good. Like you said, if they could break out above 380, we would start to see a really good move out of this. I'm not sure it will do that today, but definitely looking for this momentum to continue up to that 380 level at the minimum.
Alrighty, so I'm just looking at like Riot and Mara because I know Bitcoin's just getting smacked. Mara's down around 7%. Riot is down around 5%. They're not at their lows though. Like their lows were back in what was it, like May or so. But I'm just looking at a bunch of different things right now because the market is it's a little interesting to say the least. We have crypto just absolutely tanking. The SPY doesn't have a ton of momentum to the upside or the downside right now. Looks like it's selling off just a little bit at open, but nothing major. Let's check out the QQQ. Oh, wow. QQQ looks pretty solid. Look at this.
Yeah, let's go check it out. The QQQ is actually moving up today very nicely, Mike. And man, it's moving up off of that like 344 support level very nicely. I actually really like that. And it's moving right off of those SMAs also. So this is honestly a pretty awesome green setup here so far this morning. And if we could start to break out above those pre-market highs around like 345.50, man, I think we'll start to see a pretty big run out of the QQQ. And you know what? Let's go check out like Apple. We have a green day so far out of Apple. Looks like it's turning over a little bit right now. Microsoft is having a nice green day. And let's go check out Tesla, the king of the QQQ. And it looks like Tesla is up as well. So overall, pretty great day so far out of the tech sector. And it shows that just how much strength is still there. We saw tremendous strength out of this sector on Friday. And then on Monday, it kind of turned around. And we ended up seeing a lot of these stocks go down slightly, but it's just great to see them recovering back up today, and QQQ is kind of pushing back up towards those all-time highs again.
Sounds good. And then we have Jorge saying, good morning, guys. CRWD, so CrowdStrike, was upgraded from buy to hold. $240 to $300 by Stifel Financial, and the share is up 4% today. hoping to see it break 250. And then Vicky said CRWD upgraded to 300. Let's check it out. CRWD, it's looking really good actually. It's popping like you guys said. Now it's almost up 5%, and we're getting really close to breaking that all-time high, Tom, of right around like 251.
Yeah, it does look really decent actually. And man, there's a lot of momentum, and I'm wondering if that kind of projection at 300 will finally push this stock up through that 250 resistance. And the main thing I'm seeing is, will investors come in and buy it up at $250? And with these type of projections coming out, I think that they might do it. So honestly, look for a good break today out of CRWD. The movement right now is fantastic. Just hit 249.42, and whenever we go look at it intraday on the 1 minute, it's really starting to move. So honestly, really good projections out of this stock, and I think it could continue up for sure, and hopefully it can break 250 like everyone's saying, because I think then we'll start to see a really good breakout.
Sounds good. I'm just trying to see what's moving this morning. We have Facebook trying to move up. CrowdStrike seems like the leader this morning, at least so far. The market has only been open for like 10 minutes though, but even Fubo's looking pretty good. They're up around 5% or so. Zoom's popping up a little bit. So yeah, those are the movers for right now. Let us know what you guys are watching. Tom and I will cover them. Let us know what stocks you're watching, what stocks you're in. Just give us some ideas. We have Sean saying, what do you think about PayPal? PYPL. This one isn't doing anything, at least today. It has support at 280, and then it has a little resistance level. You can see like right at, let's say, like 286 area.
Yeah, I see that one as well. 286 seems like the next one on the way up. On the way down, man, there's honestly a pretty big move on the way down. There's definitely a support here around 280, maybe 279, but man, whenever we get a little bit lower, there's been a pretty good like long-term support here down here around like 242 that it bounced off of a couple times and moved directly to the upside. It's actually been recovering up pretty nice. So I would just be more of neutral on it, just in case it doesn't keep recovering. But if we can see like more green movement today, and it can start to break out above like that 280 286 level, I think we'll start to see a good move.
All righty, just trying to see with the next comment. Let's see. Next comment, we have ABC saying thoughts on BMBL. Let's check it out. BMBL, it is up a little bit today. I'm trying to look at the daily. It looks okay. I mean, it's not like my favorite setup, but I'm also not bearish on it. I'm just kind of like neutral on it right now. They do have a little bit of resistance at 65, and then even more resistance at 75, with the all-time high at like 85. So it's okay. They just have a lot of resistance coming up.
Yeah, they do, and I see one at 55 as well, so definitely be a little careful with BMBL. I think that it's just, look at how much it's recovered up from the lows, and we're starting to see a lot of these stocks kind of slow down or maybe pull back a little bit with some of these kind of like growth stocks. So just keep in mind that they could start to go flat, but this growth is honestly pretty nice, and I don't know what they do, but it seems like a pretty decent setup. It's just not the setup for me with that move down from that $84 IPO, and who knows, maybe they were just overvalued on their IPO or something. I don't know, but I'll have to look into it for sure.
All right. And then we have, let's see, we have Keisha saying Etsy is finally done consolidating. The reversal has started if it can push past 175.50. And then they said, let's go Roku. So let's check out Etsy first. ETSY it does look pretty good, actually. It's just been consolidating for over a month now, almost 2 months now. It does look pretty good. Tom, do you see like a gap fill setup or anything like that?
Yeah, it doesn't look like the best gap fill setup to me just because it's been so flat, but I'll be honest, it's been kind of consolidating for so long that it seems like that we could start to see, a fill of that gap. And I would say if we do fill it, look for it to hit like the $180 resistance. I would think that that's about where we'd get to. So it's only about a 7-point move, but if we start to really go up, then I think we could maybe come retest that $200 resistance, but that would take a pretty large move. But man, Etsy's just been so flat that if you guys are going to play it, I would say just make sure you get time, but I would think it's at towards the end of its kind of towards the end of like the kind of like consolidation area. I would think that like, eventually over the next like couple weeks to month, I think we'll start to see a move out of Etsy one way or the other. And I would personally, be more bullish on it and say that it would fill the gap and go to the upside, especially given like the type of sector and everything that they are in. And I would think that it's honestly a pretty good setup here, like you said, for a gap fill setup. But it's just been so flat that I would make sure you get a little bit of time.
Good stuff. And then let's see. With the next comment, we have Israel saying, TRCH, I'm in at 955. All right, TRCH. I know that there was a ton of hype with this one the other day. It's pretty close to its highs, honestly. I don't know. I mean, it's not for me. It has a lot of potential, but these like types of setups, they're just not for me. I know that there is potential to short squeeze. I know that they do have that dividend pretty soon. It has potential. It's just really, really risky.
Yeah, it is kind of risky, and it is holding an SMA today, which is decent, the 100 SMA. So hopefully we can start to see it go up, but I'll be honest, the setup does not look near as good as it was looking to me a few days ago on the way up, and that's honestly a pretty big sign there. And whenever we look at it on the daily, when it's getting pretty overextended, guys, like we moved up from, $3 all the way up to $10.88. I don't think that we'll see it continue move up on this one, but hopefully we do for your sake. I think that they said they got in at 955, right?
Yep.
That's pretty good, honestly. You got in pretty low down here, so hopefully it can continue up for you. If it breaks this SMA and breaks the support here around $9 though, I'd be a little worried about it.
All righty. And then let's see. Matthew had a 165% win on NVIDIA. There we go. Then we have Laura asking about NTEC and Wish. So NTEC is doing pretty good. It is a penny stock. We don't really trade penny stocks. It's trying to pop up, though. Like if we look intraday, it's trying to run up. It struggled a lot at market open. Their daily looks okay. It's definitely not my favorite setup. I like stocks like Zoom a lot better. But there is potential with NTEC. It's just definitely not for me.
Yeah, me either. It's just one of those like very low price stocks, and it could get pretty volatile. I'm not saying it's not a bad stock to hold. I think it could, end up having a pretty good move to the upside, but in the past they have had like a reverse split and stuff like that as well. So that's my main concern, is that I generally don't like to trade stocks that have reverse split before, unless it's something like ACB or something like that, just for a very quick like short-term trade.
All right, and then Wish, WISH. So it's up around 4.5% today. I actually think this setup looks pretty good.
Yeah, the daily setup looks pretty surprising, actually. I'll be honest. It looks pretty good to the upside, especially if we can start to break out above $15. That would be an amazing move for Wish, of course. And honestly, I think that with the sector they're in and everything, I think that we could start to see, a break up towards 15 or maybe like that high of $17. But man, it's definitely going to be volatile. But honestly, out of all the setups that people are talking about, out of a lot of these hype stocks, I think that Wish looks like one of the better ones.
All righty, and then let's see. With the next comment, we have Hunter saying, watching AMC fall. What's it doing, Tom? AMC is down around over 7% today. It's falling off a good amount right now. It just broke a pretty big support at $52, and it's falling through that pretty big right now.
Yeah, it's not looking good. It also fell below an SMA, which was actually sitting right at that 52 support, believe it or not. So that was kind of strange, but there is another support coming up, maybe around 50. I don't think it'll hold that, though. It definitely looks pretty bearish. There's a bigger, longer-term support down there around $40. So just be careful of that over the next few days, but definitely not looking good for AMC right now. And man, I know that, this is definitely not what investors were looking for.
All right. And then with the next comment, let's see, what do we have? Click saying thoughts on BTG. BTG is down a good amount today. Nothing too crazy. It's getting close to its support at like 425. Again, we don't really trade penny stocks too much. And I have not researched this company fundamentally. So from a technical standpoint, it looks okay. It's getting close to support at 425. But besides that, It's definitely not the best setup. Even looking at the max weekly chart, at least that looks better. But like over the past year, it's definitely not doing too well.
Yeah, I think that this might follow like gold or something. It says it's B2 gold. Let me go to like GLD's chart. And yeah, the chart does look a little similar, but it's definitely a lot more volatile. Like the thing goes up and down like, 100% or down 50%, then up 100%, and just has some crazy volatile moves. So just be careful with it. I would think if you wanted a gold stock, I think that BTG could be good, but I think that like GLD will be a lot safer, but BTG could make you a lot higher of a return in the longer run, possibly with it having larger moves. But just keep in mind you're going to have larger moves to the downside, kind of like what we're seeing right now.
All right. And then with the next comment, we have Corbin saying, is Apple gonna tank today? Let's see. Apple, it was looking pretty good at pre-market. It has a little bit of resistance right now around like 132. You say like 132.80, that area. And then it also has support at it just 132 flat. I
Yeah.
like it overall. Can it tank today? Of course, it definitely can, but I definitely wouldn't buy puts on it. And I think the setup looks good overall. And, even if it doesn't like have an amazing day today, I still think over the next couple days, it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think so too. And just look at Apple's like open yesterday. Like look at how much it tanked off and then just flew right to the upside. So keep in mind that there's definitely a lot of time left in the day. And even if Apple doesn't recover, like you said, Mike, as long as it can hold a couple of these supports, I think it'll be pretty good for the next couple days also.
Okay. And then with the next comment, we have Sean saying plug is going off. Let's check it out. PLUG. Yeah, it is really popping. It's up over 6%. And it's not even at its high a day right now. Like it looks like they reported earnings in pre-market and they went from like 29.75 all the way up to 32.50. And now they're pulling back a little bit right now, but they are definitely going off. And I think they also have a lot of potential to pop up over like the next couple weeks or so.
Yeah, I think so too. Plug and actually BLNK both. I think that both of those stocks are looking pretty good here in the shorter term. Well, actually, BLNK is looking a lot worse actually than Plug, but I take that back. I thought that they were moving more of in tangent. They definitely were a couple days ago, but man, that's funny. BLNK started to really hit that resistance and fall off, but it's nice to see Plug holding its ground and kind of going up here. That's a nice sign, especially with a couple of the other ones going down. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Plug definitely looks like a nice swing, possibly for like the next like couple of weeks even.
Sounds good. And then like I was also looking at coin, like it fell around 5% today. And I was looking at this one for cash secured puts. Obviously, like all the negative crypto news, that's not it's not good for Coinbase. But I was just watching it because I know that the IV is relatively high on this one. Plus, the stock is falling, so I feel like I could sell some pretty far out of the money puts and get paid to potentially buy this stock at a really low price. So Coin is definitely on my radar, and it looks like their support is at like 208, which is their all-time low.
Yeah, and I know like while you were gone, Mike, the bot actually called out a coin put and ended up doing pretty good on it, or a cash secured put. I think it was around like the 200 strike or like the 205 strike, but ended up doing pretty good on it. And man, it's always a good opportunity whenever coin is falling. And man, that IV is actually starting to pick up a little bit, so we might be able to get some pretty good premium.
Definitely. Like I'm looking at like the 170 puts and you can get paid around $40 for them right now. So they're definitely on my radar. Coin is definitely selling off a good amount. So definitely keep an eye on that. Then we have Sean saying, I know you guys were talking about Bitcoin and Doge at the start of the stream, but could you go over where you think it could be going? So, that's the $1 million question, Sean. But yeah, we can definitely take a look at it again. So Tom, let's pull it up. Bitcoin and Doge. We'll start with Bitcoin. So Tom, I know we were talking about Bitcoin before the stream, and I know that we both feel like, no one can call the bottom, but at least, yeah. So like, I'd say that we both feel that Bitcoin has more room to fall. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that for sure. And my main reasoning is just that we've hovered around this support, for like the past 6 months, or not the past 6 months, but for like the past 3 months. And now we're starting to see, a lot of movement to the downside below the support, and I would just think it definitely has a chance to continue.
Gotcha. So, just like looking at the charts, and there's also been like a good amount of negative news lately with it. So, I can definitely see it falling also. It's impossible to predict the bottom or anything like that. But I know Tom and I before the stream were looking at like the $25,000 area for Bitcoin. So, that's the next major level we are looking at. I personally don't think Bitcoin is like gonna like crash and burn forever and then anything like that. I feel like the smart money is really going to take advantage of this dip. I think the fact that a lot of other like large institutions like JP Morgan, Citigroup, and I believe even Goldman Sachs and a lot of other banks started offering Bitcoin to like some of their wealthier clients. And then I just know that like even more companies in general are adopting Bitcoin. So I don't think that, it's just going to disappear after this crash. So I'll definitely be looking to buy the dip. But at the same time, I'm just going to average in because nobody can call the bottom.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing is nobody can call that bottom, and I just want to point something out to people is that like let's go back to and let's like scroll back here to 2018, and the move does not look very big on the chart, keep in mind, but at the time it was looking kind of like a move like this. Keep in mind Bitcoin hit a high of around 20,000 and then fell all the way down to lows of around 30, like somewhere like right around 3,000 over the next couple of years. So just keep in mind that we just hit 64,000, maybe 65,000. So just be a little careful because we could keep going down. Like we said, that there's definitely some more downwards momentum that we think is going on here, and it's definitely not a bad thing. We can definitely pick up some Bitcoin and stuff like that really low and just maybe expect a year of Bitcoin just going down to being flat, kind of like we've seen in the past, and then possibly more hype back to the upside. So Bitcoin definitely has these big upside swings, and then it just kind of consolidates for a little while and then has more swings. So just keep that in mind going forward, that it's always going to go down and then go back up. So just keep in mind that like it's not going to go like just disappear or just crash and burn like Mike said. There's too many institutions that have it now at this point, but it could just keep going down in the shorter term. So just keep that in mind like whenever you're buying in right now. Like Mike said, it's smarter to average in rather than just like go all in or anything like that.
All right. And then he was also asking about Doge. So let's check out Doge. Doge, like I'm personally not a huge fan of Doge. I might get some hate for that, but it's not really for me. The next major support I see is like 10 cents. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's just like a giant. I mean, I would call it a hype stock, but it's not a stock. So a hype or a hype cryptocurrency, you can say. Either way, it's not for me. But if I had to give anything, I'd say the 10 cent support.
Yeah, I would say a 10-cent support actually looks pretty good down there, but honestly, it's not for me either. And like you said, a lot of people are probably they probably don't want to hear that, but it's just we're just being honest with you guys, and it's just one of those things where like if you're gonna put your money into something, you want it to kind of be safe, and this goes up and down so much. Like I know so many people that were buying this up at like 50 cents, 60 cents, and even 65 cents, saying that we were going to hit $5 and stuff like that very soon. And it's just one of those bad scenarios where I think it was just obviously a lot of new traders who just kind of just they weren't kind of used to the market yet, and they didn't understand that how much that this actually had potential to go down and kind of hurt them, and it kind of happened like that. But that's kind of what happens, and whenever that happens to you guys, just learn from your mistakes and just push forward, and maybe look at like some growth stocks or something like that, something maybe slightly a little safer.
For sure. And then we have Hunter saying coin is down decent too. I know we were talking about it a couple minutes ago, but Hunter, are you looking at cash secured puts for that? Because I'm definitely eyeing them out. You can get some pretty decent premiums. They're definitely on my watch list. Carlos said Baba is trying to push up. BABA, how's it doing, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it did have a green candle early on. It started to sell off a little bit now, but yeah, it was trying to push back up. It did gap down a little bit in pre-market. It kind of filled that little gap, but it's still holding that 210 support pretty well so far. So we'll just have to see how it continues to move.
All right. And then let's see. We have Keisha saying shop is still on fire. I know that they called that one out pretty early before it started running up. And yeah, it's still popping a crazy amount. This thing exploded over the past week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been on fire. I don't know what the deal is with Shopify. It's really outperforming though, like a lot of the market, hitting all-time highs and even having a pretty good recovery day today so far. It has went red like the past 5 minutes, but overall, like I think that this stock has been bouncing pretty well off of these supports here, right around like 1475, and looks like it could continue its move possibly to the upside today. We'll have to see what happens with it, but on the daily, I think it's getting a little overextended, but who knows how far it's going to run before it starts to pull back.
All right. And then we have Matthew Joe saying thoughts on Powell talking later. So it is not an FOMC. I forgot the exact name of his of today's conference, but it's not like an FOMC meeting. It's not like a minutes meeting. So I'm not really worried about it too much. If it was an FOMC or something else, like specifically like that, I'd be a little bit not worried, but I'd be more attentive to the meeting. But it's not. So, unless he says something crazy, the market probably won't move too much. And then we have Vicky asking about U. So Unity. Let's see. U is doing pretty good, actually. I think it looks like a pretty decent dip buy. It's running off that $10 support. And the next resistance I see is right around like you say like 115.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I love Unity. I think it's one of the better stocks for the longer run. And man, they're just going to keep getting better and better. And keep in mind that like they make like a lot of video games, videos and stuff like that. So for like any type of like graphics or like animation, Unity is just a killer type of software to use. And man, they're used in like almost like all these new games and stuff like that. At least like a lot of the big name titles. But I do see a resistance coming up around 114, but the momentum is definitely there. And if I was going to get this personally, I think I'd be grabbing some like longer term leaps or some shares for the longer term.
All right. And then we have Keisha saying Roku, ROKU. How's it doing? ROKU is doing pretty good, actually. I actually like this one too. The only thing is that this one is closer to resistance, right around 400. So definitely watch out for that. 400 can definitely be a tough level to break, but if it does break above that, the next resistance isn't until like around like 430.
Yeah, man, that's a very solid resistance there at 400. And look at how solid this move has been out of Roku. These past four trading days have just been like, 4%, 4%, 4%, 4%. Like it's just been a very nice move here to the upside these past 4 days. And man, it's been so nice actually. Let's go look at like the 5 day, 15 minute. And yeah, look at how like nicely it stair stepped up and just looking very nice. I would say with all those steps though, we're kind of running out of room. Like Mike said, we're getting very close to that 400 resistance. And I would say that we have to kind of slow down at some point here, but maybe look for it to kind of consolidate like it has the past few days up there at the top. And we might start to see another run tomorrow, maybe up above 400, but I doubt it at this point.
Etsy's looking pretty good. I know we were talking about it earlier, but especially intraday, check it out.
Yeah, look at that. It's running up on the 15 minute, even the 1 minute. Broke that high of day from earlier around 175.65. Now we ran up to 176.22 with a great move, actually. Looking really strong. Let's go to that 1 year daily. It is actually starting to move up. And, we talked about that gap getting filled possibly up to that 180 resistance. And who knows, we might start to see that today with the type of move that we're seeing so far.
Sounds good. And then let's see. Laura is saying Riot put question mark RIOT. Yeah, it could be decent because with how cryptos are falling. It's breaking. I mean, it's trying to break support at like 2850 right now, but it's kind of bouncing off of that. It looks decent. Just it's definitely not my favorite setup because you're literally buying this put when the stock is down 8.5% on the day. IV is rising, and like let's say you go to like the weekly options chain, like you're going to be buying puts that are up at least like 170% already. And they are relatively expensive. So, it's decent, but it's definitely not my favorite setup.
Yeah, it's not my favorite setup either. I'm just Bitcoin and everything could definitely turn around, or Riot could. So I would definitely be a pretty wary of it in the short term. But if long as Bitcoin keeps like sprinting down today below that support, who knows? I mean, Riot could keep going down, but we'll just have to see how that movement ends up playing out. And if Bitcoin has like one big green day, we've seen Riot and Mara have some huge like 20%, 30% days before. So definitely be careful, because if the crypto market ends up having one like super good day, we'll see pretty big moves out of those two stocks.
All right. And then Matt is saying Microsoft breaking all-time highs. It definitely is. Look at that, Tom. Actually, on the daily, it is breaking all-time highs. It has a good amount of momentum. Looks like the QQQ in general is doing pretty good today. Not amazing. Apple is lagging behind a little bit, but I'm glad to see Microsoft popping up, because when we have Microsoft at all-time highs and it's running, it's just going to bring more like bullish sentiment into the market, but then also it'll indirectly help Apple.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Apple's definitely gonna get helped by this, I think, for sure. And it's always good to see Microsoft moving up to all-time highs. We better see that QQQ start to break up. I mean, man, it's been like riding around those all-time highs for the past few days, and it looks like a very solid setup today. I'm just gonna be honest, like off of the SMAs, off of that 344 support and everything like that. It just looks like a very solid setup. And I think that we might start to see more movement here over the next like 20 or 30 minutes to the upside, especially if we could start to break above that high of day at like 345.50. I think we'll start to see a pretty big move, and it looks like we're getting pretty close to there right now.
Sounds good. And then Hunter's talking about the cash secured puts on coin. He was saying the July 16th 160 strike isn't too bad. I just don't really want to hold coin when Bitcoin's being a track star down to 23K. I still think it won't get a sign, though. It's pretty far out of the money. So, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm definitely looking at a bunch of different expirations and strikes right now. But then we have Corbin saying, why is Apple going down? Should I sell my calls, the 132 strike for next week? So always trust your gut. Intraday, it is popping up. Tom, how about we check this out? On the 5-minute chart, Apple looks pretty good. I like Apple. I like the setup overall. The only problem I see, Corbin, is that you have an option that expires next week. So I think that if anything, time decay is going to be your biggest problem.
Yeah, time decay is always a big problem. And man, with it expiring next week, it's going to have some pretty big moves to the upside and the downside. Like if Apple goes down a little bit, that option's obviously going to decay pretty quickly. And if it starts to go up, it's going to go up pretty quickly. So hopefully we start to see a move fast for your sake. But honestly, I think intraday, it looks pretty decent. It's bouncing on the 1 minute. It's hitting the 1,000 SMA and it's starting to break back to the upside. And we've seen it before where Apple ended up moving down at open before and then ended up flying up later in the day. So I think that could happen today. Not that Apple's going to like fly up to like 135 or anything like that, but I think that it definitely has a chance to keep moving either today or tomorrow to the upside, and we'll just have to kind of eye it out and see what's happening. And it is lagging behind a little bit, but at least we're starting to see some green momentum right now, and I will say the setup is definitely still there.
Sounds good. And then I'm just trying to get to this next question. We have Sean saying Peloton is moving. Apparently, they have announced a corporate wellness program. That's good. Let's check it out. Peloton, yeah, they're really moving today. Ivy's also running up. I think this one looks pretty good, Tom. Like in general, like even intraday, but then also on the daily chart, their next major resistance isn't until like you can say like the 120 area, but I think they look pretty good.
Yeah, it's been hovering right around 115 for like the past month or so, and it looks like it's poised to break out of that with this kind of catalyst that they said. And I don't know like what the corporate wellness program is or what it does, but like what do you think that is, Mike? Is that something where like they give like gym membership and stuff to their like corporate employees? Or
let me just look it up real quick. Peloton Corporate Wellness Program. All right, it looks like Peloton sees the office as a new way to grow subscribers. Okay, here we go. Here, let me click on it right now. It looks like, let's see, a new way to bring Peloton content or connected fitness products to businesses and organizations operating in the United States, UK, Canada, Germany, and Australia coming later this year. Just skimming this article real quick. Peloton Corporate Wellness is the next step to making the award-winning Peloton experience more accessible. Let's see. So, starting today, organizations can offer subsidized access to Peloton Digital and All Access memberships, as well as exclusive benefits on connected fitness products. So, that's basically the little summary of it. I mean, this is a pretty lengthy article, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, obviously. But
Yeah,
that's
it
the
sounds pretty decent actually though. Like I was thinking it was something more of like something for like corporate employees or something, but it sounds something actually pretty good business, for their overall business. So I would say it seems like we could have a decent setup to possibly break out above that 115 resistance with that news.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And then let's see. With the next comment, we have Carlos saying, guys, do you think the meme stock movement will ever be over? I honestly think this isn't something good for the market. So many new traders are taking a hit. And yeah, that's definitely it's definitely true, Carlos. And it's hard to say, like, I don't think it'll ever be like over. It might die down. You know what I mean? Like right now, I would say it's close to its like peak, or like whenever there's crazy like stock movements, whether it be like AMC or GameStop, like obviously like they get a lot more attention. But yeah, I mean overall it's not good for a lot of traders because people get sucked into buying AMC at, let's say you could say like $70, or like GameStop at, what was it, 400 or 500 when it ran up. And I just think it hurts more people than it helps. So hopefully it dies down. But I think more than anything, I think people just need to be more aware of just like the risks of buying these stocks when they're up, 500, 600%. So I don't think it'll ever be over though.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be over because I think that everybody's always going to be looking for that next one now, like once
For
they got a
sure.
taste of it, I feel like that they're going to be like seeking out blood like a shark or something, like it seems like it happens every time, like we see Wish start to pop and everyone like flows into Wish, or Wendy's goes up and everyone flies to Wendy's. So, it's just one of those scenarios where it's kind of cool to see it happen and to see traders be able to, like trade these stocks up the way they do. But honestly, it shoots a lot of like the newer guys in the foot. It's good if you can take advantage of it, but keep in mind, like if you're a brand new trader, it's like these people who say that you should buy these things and hold them forever. I'm just gonna be honest, they're totally wrong. I think that it's better to do that with stuff like Apple and stuff like that. But as of right now, like some of these stocks like AMC, GameStop, and stuff, these people are buying it like you said, Mike, $500 on GameStop and $60 on AMC, and they're pretty much just holding forever, no matter how much it goes down. And I just think that that's obviously a bad strategy to go in the longer run.
For sure. And then we have Jesse saying, is Mike talking through a can and string? So to answer your question, no, I am not. But I am definitely having some technical difficulties this week. I was traveling a couple days ago, and then my mic broke, and I'm just having a ton of problems with just technical problems right now. That's why I wasn't in the stream yesterday. And then even if you guys noticed, yesterday's video was a little choppy with the audio quality and even just the quality in general. So I'm definitely working on it. There's just, sometimes life happens and unexpected, mics break and all that stuff. So sorry about the quality, but we're definitely working on fixing the problem. Then we have Keisha saying, what do you guys think of SMG? Let's check it out. SMG, it is not really doing anything right now. Overall, they've done great over like the past year, and I do like them for the long term. Overall, I actually like this. I like how they're dipping down a little bit, but I think that they could fall a little bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised if it tests like the 180 support.
Yeah, we need to put some Miracle Grow on AMC or something like that, and maybe help it get
Right?
going here, man. Help it break out through that resistance. But yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. SMG has a really good support here around the 185 to like 185.50 level, and it is so defined here on this candlestick from all the way back from, let's see, March 5th. and then it also touched it again on June 17th. It looks like almost a perfect bottom right there. So I'm going to be honest. I think that looks like a pretty good swing and a pretty good time to buy it. You're only like $10 off of that bottom support. So I think it's honestly a great time to either one, pick up shares or number two, like to sell some puts or something like that.
All right. And then we have Deep saying, what are your thoughts on DOCU? Let's check it out. DOCU looks pretty good, but I think it is definitely overbought, so I would not touch it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd touch it either. It is getting overbought, but I like that it looks like it might start to break out here on the daily chart, but there's a huge resistance here, like right around like 276, you could say, and then another one somewhere between like 280 and 290. So definitely be careful with it, but this has a lot of momentum, and in the past we've seen this one run before, so I wouldn't be surprised if it ran again, but to be honest, like you said, I just wouldn't be touching it.
All right. And then with the next comment, we have, let's see. We have Hunter saying every day there's a low float stock booming, so they'll always have butterflies to chase. If you ever hear a crazy price target on a meme stock, come in chat and I'll snap you out of believing it, so you can cash in the tendies. So yeah, just be careful, guys. Please just be careful with everything. Let's check in on like AMC and like Wish and stuff like that. So it looks like AMC, it was selling off big time this morning, but then it's pulling a complete 180, Tom. Look at this. It's like racing back up to what is that, like the $55 area.
Yeah, it is actually. It's coming right back up to like that support, or now it's that resistance level now that we fell below it. But yeah, it's coming right back up to those like levels into that range between like 54 and 56. And I think it still looks pretty decent. Possibly if we could see more green today, I think the turnaround could possibly happen. I don't think that we're going to fly up to like 64 or like $70 today or anything like that, but who knows? We could start to see a turnaround. But personally, it's starting to look like a pretty bad setup on the daily chart and also like intraday. So I'm just getting a little bit worried about it. But on the 1 minute, like at least over like you said, at least it's starting to recover back up, at least for right now. And who knows, if we can push above 56, I think that we could maybe possibly, hold these levels and then maybe like go up tomorrow or maybe the next few days. But it's definitely going to take some good movement today as well.
All right, Tom. Well, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching for the rest of the day?
Man, I mean, I'm still looking at like AMD and some of those tech stocks. They're just having so much problems getting up. Like we finally saw some good movement like last week to end the week. And then this week, straight out of the gate Monday, we have a lot of these stocks pull back. Today, it looks like they want to come back up. But man, just overall, a lot of them are just kind of flat sitting there. I know that these chip stocks have had a lot of news lately with, with selling pressure, and also like Intel CEO came out and said that they'd be good for the next 10 years. That's kind of a broad statement. I guess almost everything in the stock market will be good over the next 10 years, I guess, if you think about it. But it should be pretty decent if you count inflation and everything like that. But I will say that these semiconductor stocks, though, have been moving pretty nicely. Lots of people have been loving NVIDIA. And honestly, the intraday setup here looks great. It's moving off the SMAs. Looks like a pretty good possible move to the upside. So just watching these chip stocks, still looking for like decent moves out of the overall tech sector.
All right. And then with the last comments, we have Sean saying, thanks, Mike and Tom, for another great stream. Gonna head out in the green 3 days in a row. There we go, Sean. Justin saying, what do you know about the new law that AMC people are talking about? To be honest, I haven't really been following it too much. Mike saying, DraftKings, buy shares or sell puts. I'm a huge fan of selling puts on DraftKings. And then Corbin saying, I'm signing up for stat modeling. I look forward to trading with you guys. So awesome job. Let us know if you need anything, Corbin. And thank you guys so much for joining the stream today and asking great questions. Again, sorry about the technical difficulties with the stream, but thank you guys so much for joining. And we hope you have an amazing rest of your day.